Dear Ilze, thank you for inviting me. I, of course, agree with everything that Daniel Telesklav has said about avoiding the gray list. And I truly believe that it would be devastating if Latvia had entered the gray list 2 years ago, just before the COVID-19 pandemic. Just imagine what would happen today with all the sanctions on Russia, etc., if Latvia would still be perceived as this laundromat and center of sanction evading. I can just imagine what this would do to the Latvian economy. So indeed, gray listing was delisting or not being listed was a great achievement, but not at all the main achievement of Latvia in its anti-money laundering regime and what I want to speak about today. My background, I was an Israeli prosecutor for many years, and I was actually the Ilze Znotina of Israel, told by Israel to set up the FIU and get out of the blacklist of FATF, which I did 20 years ago. I don't know if Latvia has thanked you enough, Ilze, but as we know, no prophet is welcome in his own hometown. But I've been privileged to consult Latvia for the last 2 years, and I have some perspectives which I want to share with you today regarding the achievements of Latvia. As I said, it's counterintuitive, but avoiding the gray list is not the main achievement of the anti-money laundering regime. And I know this from Israel, and from our experience, when many people in Israel believed that pekunia non ole, that the money does not smell and black money is good money for the economy. And as we learned, many lessons in Israel, which I want to share with you, with ignorant politicians preaching that black money is actually good for the economy and what are you doing, etc. What we learned in Israel, and which I think is very relevant for Latvia, is a few things. First of all, is that money laundering and laundromats add close to nothing to the GDP. So maybe a few bankers make some money, maybe a few tax advisors make some money, but overall GDP does not gain from this. A sustainable economy needs to be diversified and supported by a financial system with a high level of integrity. Foreign investment, the investment committees of the big money are attracted to stable and clean economies, transparent and growing economies, and not to places where money laundering occurs. And combating money laundering is the only way to combat actually crime, including especially corruption and tax evasion, and of course organized crime. And confiscation is what criminals really care about. As a prosecutor negotiating several plea bargains, I know the criminals are willing to stay in jail a few more years, just give them back their assets that we seized, and money is what it's about, and preventing future crime is done through combating money laundering and confiscation. Above all, combating money laundering creates an equal level playing field, where honest businessmen can compete with dishonest businessmen and win. Because otherwise, if criminals and tax evaders and money launderers can succeed, an efficient economy will not thrive. We can see this comparing short-term and long-term as well. Maybe we can get a few more million into the country on a short term, but on a long term, to ensure sustainability, we definitely need to fight money laundering. So for all these reasons, the effective combating of money laundering in Latvia has been most successful. And of course, if you're not convinced with all my reasonings, you can be convinced by the fact that Latvia was not grey-listed and enjoys a good reputation, which attracts foreign investment today. How did Latvia succeed? How did Latvia do it? Well, first of all, political will. I remember being in a meeting with the Prime Minister banging on the table, telling us all to leave the room, come back in 2 hours when the problem is solved. Without the involvement of the highest level of politicians, this would not have happened. Leadership, I have to mention Ilze, leading in the FIU, on the FIU level, the national level, and the international level, placing Latvia. Ilze Znotina was a leader in this process, and it would not have happened without her. But I also want to mention the good spirit of cooperation between all the agencies, which is not always true. I consult many agencies around the world in various jurisdictions. Sometimes in the small jurisdictions, actually, you have a phenomena where agencies are finger pointing at each other, looking for who to blame and what to blame. And actually, in Latvia, I saw a good spirit of cooperation between all agencies. I saw a strategic approach taken by all agencies, by the Ministry of Finance, the FCMC, the police, tax, the prosecutors, CNAB, and all those other supervisory authorities, everybody working under the same strategy, and which is something that is most commensable. That is about the achievements of Latvia so far, and the question is how, what does the future intend, and how should we looking into the future. First of all, the key word is sustainability. So everything that has been achieved must be sustainable and must continue, especially with regard to combating money laundering, regarding foreign proceeds of crime, abusing the Latvian system, and trying to launder funds through Latvia. This is especially true, as I said, during this era that we are going through now, these months, where sanctions are going to become more important, and various attempts to circumvent sanctions using money laundering schemes such attempts might happen in Latvia. But we also need to be, as the FATF tells us, we need to be risk-based. And I listened to the discussions before this speech. Clearly, everybody is trying to base their policies on risk assessments, meaning that we need to tackle tax evasion, the grey economy, corruption, and of course do this based on risk assessment and on a fine-tuned approach, focusing on the actual areas of residual risk where the mitigating measures are not strong enough. That's where we need to focus our enforcement. That's where we need to, through combined task forces or fusion centers or collaborations, various collaborations between tax, between CNAB, between the FIU, of course, with the leadership of the police and the prosecutors. This is where we need to move on. Remember, the FATF just revised its methodology and will be back. The Manival will be back sooner than you think. And what will be focused on, of course, is actual results, actual confiscations, actual investigations, actual prosecutions of money laundering cases with the predicate offenses of corruption, with the predicate offenses of tax evasion, and with the predicate offenses of foreign proceeds. So I do wish Latvia all the luck in the world in continuing in the same path that was followed in the last 2 years. This has been proven to be an excellent policy, both avoiding the grey list, but also building a sustainable economy, which will, in the long run, attract investment and ensure the economic stability and prosperity of Latvia. So good luck, FIU, good luck, Ilze Znotina, and good luck, Latvia and its economy and all its authorities. I wish you all the best of luck and the best of success. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your expertise and time here today, and also evaluation. Thank you very much. Cienījamie skatītāji, tas bija Yehuda Shaffers.
The audience, Yehuda Shaffer spoke, expert assessor of FATF and former head of FIU of Israel. The next speaker and the topic what is global trends and what can be expected in the area of AML in the coming years. Tom Keating, Director of the Center for Financial and Security Studies.
Hi everybody, my name is Tom Keating. I'm Director of the Center for Financial Crime and Security Studies at RUSI. I unfortunately can't be in Riga with you all today. I had plans that meant I couldn't travel to Riga, but of course with the just appalling events that are going on in Ukraine, the completely unprovoked Russian aggression, invasion and war in that peaceful country, we are doing what we can from the UK to try and support particularly the sanctions effort that the UK and other countries are undertaking, and so can't be with you, and my thoughts are with you in Riga as well, because sitting on an island, we are some distance from Russia, but of course in Latvia you have a very, very close proximity to that country. So what I have been asked to do today, and when Ilze asks you to do something, you know the answer has to be yes, which I'm always delighted to respond to. What I've been asked to do today is